So we're going to get started. We have a good amount of people here on Facebook and a good amount of people on Instagram. If you're new, this is Jeopardy Noir. We're going to put some questions on the screen behind me. You have a few seconds to answer these questions. We haven't forgot about our prize list. We're still dealing with the COVID-19, and we tried to bring some staff in, but seemed like the numbers going back up. We kind of decided that we won't do that at this time. So we're going to work on getting those prize lists or those prizes mailed out. Asking staff to go ahead and that are at the facility to please go ahead and let's facilitate that to get those things out. Those items that we say we're going to get out. Well, you answer the question. The first to answer the question, the first that shows up on my screen. We have some staff members that are observing the channel so that they would take score as well, just in case it's something that I missed. And we're just happy to have you here for Jeopardy Noir. This is our Safer at Home series with the Black Archives History and Research Foundation. I want to thank our sponsors from the Southeast Overtown Parkway CRA to the Simpkins Family Foundation. Greetings from the DMV. All right, Ms. Lynn Whitfield. Thank you so much. From the DC. Is that the DC area? Awesome. Thank you. So thank you for joining us today, far and near. Lynn Whitfield, thank you so much for joining us. So we're going to get started. You answer the questions. Today's episode is going to be a little local history. So I apologize in advance for those that are watching us from other cities, other locations. But this is going to be strictly local history. So we definitely want to give you that. Hello, Dorian Creation. Welcome so much. Let's see what I have going on here. I got something on my screen. Okay, so here we go. Are we ready? We're ready. Just to take your mind off of all of the craziness that's going on, and DeSantis that's trying to bring death and everything. All right, Oscar JB1 is here, so let's get started with our first question. We're ready to get started. We have a game. So our first question, again, this is mostly local history. So, you know, some people might get these questions right away. You don't have to look too far. So today, we're going to get started with our first question. Jeopardy Noir with Timothy A. Barber. Thank you. Here we go. First question. Name the historic Miami location that was visited by the likes of Malcolm X, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Lena Horne, Muhammad Ali, and many, many more. There's a lot of locations in South Florida that happened, but this specific location has claim to fame these locations. So again, name the historic Miami location. All right, Dorian Creed. Oh, Oscar JB1 has the answer on Instagram. Daniela Pierre has the answer on Facebook. Nobody mistake that answer. Daniela Pierre and Oscar JB1 came in first. That answer is, of course, the Hampton House. These are going to be very easy. So yes, Oscar Marcus Paramore, Overtown was the place that all of these stars frequented, but this particular place still stands that, and they claim to fame is those individuals that were at that particular facility. So we're going to move on to our next question. Now, of course, Oscar JB1 said formerly the Booker Terrace Motel, and we had that in a discussion once before on our field trips. Here we go. The next question. Are we ready? Are you ready? Here we go. Name an R&B legend who sang Soul Man and was a native of Overtown. Name the R&B legend that sang Soul Man and is a native of Overtown. Somebody can give me that answer. Name an R&B legend who sang I'm a Soul Man and is a native of Overtown. Oscar JB1 on Instagram has the answer. Oscar JB1 has the answer on Instagram. Do we have the answer on Facebook? See, we have the answer on Facebook. The R&B legend who sang Soul Man and is a native of Overtown. Welcome, Sweetback 3, Swamp Maid, welcome. We're going to stop the music, giving Facebook just a little bit more time just to get that particular answer. Going once, Facebook. We are going twice with the 20-second delay. And we are going to end this question. The only person got that question correct was Oscar JB1. Sam Moore of the group Sam and Dave. Interesting how Sam Moore talked about how him and Dave came together, but it's Sam and Dave. Sam Moore. Somebody can check and see if that answer, Lynn Whitfield's answer, came in before we revealed the answer on Facebook, just to let us know. But the answer is Sam Moore. Thank you, Oscar JB1, for that answer. Here we are with our next local question. What year did Booker T. Washington Senior High School open its doors? What year did Booker T. Washington Senior High School open its doors? What year? Somebody give me the year that Booker T. Washington High School, which is the first high school to offer an education for blacks beyond the 6th grade up to the 12th grade. Okay, not quite. Thank you, Copperstone. Not quite. Oscar JB1. Marcus Paramore. Not quite. Not quite. We're waiting. And there's a story behind this. Dorian Creation, you're very close. Daniela Pierre, you have answered the question correctly. Daniela Pierre, you have answered the question correctly. I'm waiting on Instagram. I'm waiting on Instagram. That question went to Facebook. Daniela Pierre with the answer. Facebook, Instagram. Are we ready? I'm going to pause it. Instagram. What was the year? All right, Dorian Creation. Thank you so much for that answer. The answer is 1926. 1926. Booker T. Washington High School was scheduled to open in 1925. However, yes, Dorian Creation Booker T. Washington High School was bombed. It was bombed because the address for Booker T. Washington High School is 1200 Northwest 6th Avenue. That's the front door. That was the front door of the school, 1200 Northwest 6th Avenue. We all know, many of us may know, that there were, back then, during segregation, Jim Crow laws, there were color lines. Dr. John Hope Franklin talked about those color lines that exist. There are seen lines and unseen lines that documented where blacks could go. Well, Northwest 7th Avenue was one of those color lines. That was on the west side of historic Overtown, which was Colored Town. The back of Booker T. Washington abutted Northwest 7th Avenue. Therefore, white people felt that it was too close to give blacks an education to their neighborhoods. So they bombed Booker T. Washington. So it wasn't able to open in 1925, but it finally opened in 1926. And many black families sent their children to Booker T. Washington just to get a high school education up to the 12th grade. Because prior to that, many of the children after 6th grade, you had to go to work, you were finished, or many affluent families were able to send their children to Negro colleges, Negro schools, as they would say. Florida Normal College for Negroes and Florida Institutional Industrial College, Institutional College, Baptist College. They would send their students there, their children there, to receive, to further their education after 6th grade. So Booker T. Washington is the historic black high school in Miami. Thank you so much for that answer. Let's move on. Let's move on. That was just a little did you know. This man was one of the 5 original black officers sworn into the Miami Police Department on September 1st, 1944. He was born in South Carolina. This particular person was one of the 5 original black officers sworn into Miami Police Department on September 1st, 1944. Sadly, he was killed while on duty. He was killed while on duty. He was one of the first 5 black police officers. This is around a time when blacks felt that, they rather, when you talk about community policing, the first 5 black policemen in Miami, it was about, not exactly Ingram. I could have did a Did You Know on Ingram, who was the first cyclist, first patrol motorbike rider here in Miami. But this particular one was a part of the first 5. Lynn Whitfield, thank you so much. She has the answer on Facebook. The answer is in on Facebook. Instagram, we're still waiting. Sadly, this particular officer was one of the first black officers that were killed in the line of duty. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes just to digest that. We do have an answer from Lynn Whitfield, who is calling the DMV. Can you verify? Are you stating that you're in the DC area? Is that the DC, Maryland, Virginia area? Is that where you're on with us from, Lynn? But just waiting. Instagram. We're going to give you a couple more seconds. Instagram. Do we have this answer? But Lynn Whitfield have the answer. Granny Girl, welcome. Welcome, Granny Girl. I hope you have some answers, Granny Girl. All right, Oscar Brainen came through with the answer. That answer is John Milledge. John Milledge was one of the first 5 officers. Sadly, John Milledge was the first black officer to die in the line of duty here in Miami. You know, when you read up on the story of John, District Heights, Maryland. All right, thank you so much, Lynn Winfield. John Milledge, you know, was apparently the Colored Baseball League used to play baseball here at Dorsey Park. The Colored Baseball League used to play baseball down here at Dorsey Park. And sadly, the police were patrolling that area, and there was a group of kids that was sneaking into the, trying to sneak into the game. John Milledge made them leave, and I think he chased one of the kids down the alley. And if I'm remembering correctly, I think one of the kids returned with a gun and shot John Milledge. Later, that kid left. Said that they make an arrest. Well, they didn't make an arrest until many years later. That child was older. That child was he was actually an adult, an old man. Because right after he shot John Milledge and killed him, his family sent him away to New York. And it was many years later, as an old man, they finally caught up to him in New York. And, you know, murder doesn't have a statute of limitations. So they ended up charging him, and he did time. So I think I'm remembering that research correctly. But interesting enough, I was just thinking about something because I was kind of watching the Innocent Project that's on Netflix. And a thought came to my mind, and somebody just tell me if it's wrong. I'm sorry to segue a little bit. But if murder has no statute of limitations in the United States, can somebody please tell me why they have not searched for all the killers that have lynched colored people, blacks, in the United States? Things that make you say, if murder doesn't have a statute of limitations in the United States, can somebody please tell me why nobody's investigating all of those lynchings, all of those people standing around black people being lynched on trees, taking pictures and having picnics? I wonder why that hasn't taken place. Since we can't get reparations, maybe we can go after those families. That's true. Maybe we can go after those families that were standing around watching those lynchings. Quite possibly, if we have the photos and we can identify those people in that photo. So anyway, some of those boys were, yes, KPZ, she said it correctly. She said, Manny, you know why some of those boys were judges and pastors. I really think, I know that Ice Cube is doing his contract on Black of America. I think that somebody need to go back, grab those photos, start identifying those people that were standing around, those people that were being lynched and hanging from trees, and start doing civil suits against the families of those persons. Are we not victims of our family's past sin? Anyway, let me get off that soapbox. We're going to move on to our next question. What year was the Black Archives founded? What year was the Black Archives founded? I didn't mean to get off track a little bit, but it bothered me when I saw that. I'm going to tell you another story after this particular question, but what year was the Black Archives founded? Somebody tell me what year was the Black Archives founded? I'm waiting, Oscar JB1. You're close. Don't let nobody sneak in and steal an answer. You forgot a number. Not quite Daniela Pierre. Not quite. Boy, she said 18. Woo. We are waiting. We're waiting. Not quite Miss Whitfield. Not quite Daniela Pierre. Oscar Brainen, do not let no one walk in and steal that answer on Instagram. You have 3 numbers there. You need 1 more number to get that correct. Daniela Pierre on Facebook. Daniela Pierre, he said declined. Oscar Oscar Brown say he declined the answer. Daniela Pierre, you do have the answer correct on Facebook. We're giving Instagram just a little bit more time to see if they can come up with this particular answer. We're giving Facebook going once. Instagram, I'm sorry. Daniela Pierre, you have the answer correct. Going twice for Instagram. And going. The answer to this question is 1977. Daniela Pierre, you got the answer correct. The year that the Black Archives was founded was in 1977 by Dr. Dorothy Jenkins Fields. Of course, we know many things were going on in the late 70s, and a lot of these community archives, museums, and across all these different museums began to pop out in the 1970s. It was all a part of the Black Power movement. This was the Black Power movement that was happening, where many blacks began to uncover the truth about Black history. And since the white institutions were not, the white universities were not telling the history correctly or even correcting and collecting the history, you had a lot of prominent people in their different cities that began to establish different Black museums and different archives in their cities by collecting the history of blacks. So that's why I always say, until the lions tell their story, the tales of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. And that's why many people begin to collect information to tell their particular story. Before I move to the next answer, I was going to tell you another story that I was watching again. I'm watching The Innocent Project on Netflix, and it was interviewing these in Mississippi, these brothers. The first part that I'm watching, these black men who were accused and convicted of murder without any scientific evidence. And interesting that one of the guys on the jury, which was a white guy, was trying to understand why he was picked. He felt that he said Pat would be embarrassed if I answered. The white guy was on the jury. He was telling his story. He was saying that he didn't think he would get picked, but he kind of figured why the prosecution picked him in Mississippi. They picked him because he's a white man, and they knew that he would probably convict a black guy. And then he didn't understand because he was friends of, which is crazy, he was friends of the defendant. And he said, well, he think that the defenders let that go because they thought he would be more helpful to the defense because he knew the character of the defendant. Now, one thing he said when he was walking and talking to the cameras that kind of bothered me, he said he's never been a racist, but as a kid, he never understood why, because he took you to the home, the old house of the defendant, which was a black man. He said, I never knew why their house was different from my house, why their house was so much terrible than my house. He talked about seeing the black families working in the cotton fields. And he said he wasn't racist, but he just, as a kid, never understood why his house was better. And in my mind, I said, you know why you never knew that? You didn't understand it. You chose not to want to know. And then on top of that, that's called white privilege, where there's just an assumption that being white is better. There's an assumption that having a better house is the way that white people do. Not looking at the fact that there's economic situations behind this that kept black people from having the same house that you lived in and the same opportunities that you had because you were white. Anyway, we're going to keep going with the next question. Are you guys ready? Let's move on. Who established the Miami Times in 1923? Who established the Miami Times in 1923? Somebody tell me who was the founder of the Miami Times, the oldest black circulating newspaper here. I know in Miami, but I think it goes further than that. Okay, Marcus Paramore, you have a name. Okay, we have our answer on Facebook. Congratulations, Marcus Paramore. Do we have an answer on Instagram? Do we have an answer on Instagram? Daniela Pierre, you're close but not quite, because that is the son of the founder. All right, Oscar Brandon has the answer. Oscar went at first to let you know what one of his middle names was. So the answer to this is Henry E.S. Reeves. And I don't know if it's Henry, I forgot what the E is, but it's Sigmund Reeves. Henry E. Sigmund Reeves. Anybody know what the E stands for? You know, I know Garth C. Reeves, Basil. in there. They had 4 names back then. 4 names. That was always amazing to me. The 4 names that the Reeves family would have. Get this right. I write for them. Oh, Daniela Pierre Ethelbert. Henry Ethelbert Sigmund Reeves. That's the name. So Daniela Pierre, you say you write for them and you yeah, it isn't Garth Reeves. Garth Reeves Sr. is the son of the founder. The founder of the Miami Times was Henry Ethelbert Sigmund Reeves. And Garth Reeves is Garth. Is it Basil or what's the middle name? C. Reeves, but it's CB or BC. Basil Reeves. But they always had 4 names. I was very interested. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next question. Are you guys ready? Oh, wow. Let's fix this. This publisher, heck of a name. You're right. You're right about that. I think that's why Garth Reeves would just say Garth E. Reeves. I won't tell them, Daniela. I will not tell them. The main person, yes, Basil. This publisher was inducted in 2017 to the National Association of Black Journalists, the NABJ Hall of Fame, and was a longtime publisher for the Miami Times. Who is he? This publisher was inducted into the 2017 National Association of Black Journalists Hall of Fame and was a longtime publisher for the Miami Times. Who was he? I think I gave y'all just too much information on this one. All right, Marcus Paramore, thank you so much. That was very easy, very easy. Marcus Paramore came in first on Facebook. Instagram, do we have anybody on Instagram that can give us this particular answer? All right, Oscar J. Like Oscar Brandon is the only one working over here on Instagram. Of course, we did have a long conversation. This was Garth C. Reeves Sr. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Very missed, very sharp individual. I certainly lost a good friend and supporter when he passed away last year. But we're excited of his legacy that he lives and the legacy that he leaves behind. And not only that, the Garth C. Reeves Wall of Distinction here in the Black Archives, I just want to say we're thankful to those persons that are donating and getting their name on the Garth C. Reeves Wall of Distinction here in the Black Archives, which is our endowment fund. We created an endowment fund in order to keep the Black Archives sustainable. $5,000 is the minimum that you can put towards the endowment that can get your name on this wall in perpetuity. As long as the building is erected, your name will be on this wall. We're thankful to Investor Solution, who just gave us a donation, our first donation of 2020. And we also thankful to our chair, who is leading the way, Patricia Jennings Brannon and her family, who just donated their second donation of this year to the endowment, another $5,000. Their names were just added to this wall. You too can have your name added to the wall. It don't have to just be you. It could be you, your friends. You can get together a few friends. $5,000 is the minimum amount. Of course, you can give a lot more than $5,000, and you too can support Garth Reeves' last wishes was to create sustainability for the Black Archives. And she said, and the opportunity of Reeves extended to many local aspired journalists like me. Y'all read my piece this week. Thank you. Yes, that's something that's not said a lot of, how the Reeves family has offered jobs to a lot of young journalists who have gone on to other newspapers, but they got their start at the Miami Times. Daniela Pierre said, please read her piece this week. So if you were around, pick up a Miami Times and support young journalists. Moving on. What was the first Black community on the South Florida mainland called? What was the first Black community on the South? Oh boy, whoever wrote this needs help, Crystal. What was the first Black community on South Florida mainland called? What was the first Black community on South Florida's mainland called? I apologize for this. I've been rather busy with getting the stage. All right, Marcus Paramore is in the house. Marcus is not playing on Facebook. Oscar Brandon, if he was on Instagram, I think you would be in trouble today. Marcus Paramore. Dorian Creation, you do have the answer. Dorian Creation on Instagram and Marcus Paramore on Facebook. And that Black community is Coconut Grove. I was waiting for someone to put Overtown, which many people tout Overtown as the oldest black community, but we know that Bahamians came to Coconut Grove, and Coconut Grove was not a part of the city of Miami until after the city was incorporated, and that's why it don't get the prestige historically as it should, as being the first black settlement, black community in Miami. But for the Black Archives, we hold the truth, and the truth is Coconut Grove was the first black settlement. Many of the Bahamians came over to help build the Peacock Inn, Charles Avenue and Main Highway. All of that area was black Bahamians that established that city. They're going through issues with gentrification right now, but we always must support the black groves, black groves. Okay, we're moving on. Here we go. Next question. This congregation, or the congregation organized in 1895 as the First Baptist Church for black people in Dade County. This should be this. I apologize again. This congregation organized in 1895 was organized as the First Baptist Church for black people in Dade County. What is the name of this church? What is the name of this church? Let's see if we can get our music on. What is the name of this church? I need names. I see y'all guessing and asking me questions on Facebook. I need names. Somebody can tell me what is the first black church organized in 1895 for black people in Dade County. This is the oldest church. Come on, somebody. We know somebody has this answer. My music is going. I know somebody's going to get this answer. This congregation, and they're touted as the oldest church in Miami, oldest black church. Marcus, I'm just not going to give you the answer. No, I'm not going to give you the answer. I know what you're trying to say, but I can't just give you the answer, Marcus. Marcus over here on Facebook doing everything he can to get me to answer some of his questions that he's presenting. Oldest church, oldest black church for black people in Dade County. I might give you that, Marcus. Marcus Paramore finally has the answer on Instagram. On Facebook. Marcus Paramore. Do I have any answers on Instagram? I'm waiting. Not quite Macedonia. Oh, shucks. All right. Miami Gardens now has it. Here we go. That answer is Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church. Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church definitely is that answer. Yes. He said that's a tie. I don't think that's a tie. I think Marcus, his answer came in first. Daniela, his answer came in first. Miami Gardens Now, welcome to the party. Miami Gardens Now has the answer on Facebook. We're going to go on to the next question. This is local black history. We've done the black cars. We've done national history. We're doing a little local this time. Let's go to the next one. Let's see if we can test your local knowledge of black Miami. A Bahamian man who came to the United States in 1888. He built this two-story frame vernacular structure in 1897. What was the name of that structure? What is the name of that structure today? A Bahamian man came to the United States in 1888. 1888. He built a two-frame. All right, Miami Gardens Now has the answer on Instagram. Miami Gardens Now, that answer is correct. Marcus Paramore, that answer is correct. And the name of this house is the Stirrup House. It's the Stirrup House, E.W. Stirrup, yes. Of course, for those that are wondering about this history, Miami, the city of Miami was incorporated in 1896. Dade County was incorporated much earlier, I believe in the 1800s. I'm quite sure my archivist, Jocelyn Hurtado, is going to let me know that date at some point if she's still on. But Miami-Dade was incorporated much earlier. And Miami-Dade stretched from the Keys up to Palm Beach. You heard Dr. Fields mention that during our webinar on last Wednesday. So Dade County was incorporated. While Dade County was incorporated, Bahamians began to populate the Grove area and begin to build up the Grove area. That's why Macedonia Church predates the history of city of Miami, as well as Stirrup House and the people that lived there, that came over, Bahamian immigrants. However, when the city of Miami incorporated, Coconut Grove was not a part of the city of Miami. Therefore, it did not get the classification and the documentation that it was the oldest city or the oldest area in Miami, but it was. Let's move on. Here's our next question. Are you ready? Welcome, Needham. Situated on the southern tip of Key Biscayne, Cape Florida was the point from which many black Seminoles and slaves escaped. What is this location called now? Situated at the tip of Biscayne, Cape Florida was the point from which many black Seminoles and slaves escaped. What is this location called now? So we all hear about the Underground Railroad. We heard Kanye West talk about what Harriet Tubman did not do. But there was a Underground Railroad going north, but we always also understand that there was an Underground Railroad going south, And many, when Spain gave Florida to the United States, when Florida was turned over, you have the answer right. Thank you, Daniela Pierre. When Spain was converted Florida to England, many of the slaves, thank you, Oscar JB1 for that answer. Many of the slaves, many of the black people, enslaved people, many of the black Seminoles knew what the history of what America was going to do. Many of them began to go south, get on canoes, boats, and go to the islands as opposed to staying here and be subject to that. And the answer to that question was Bill Baggs, Cape Florida State Park. Bill Baggs, Cape Florida State Park, a great park when you get an opportunity. Yes, it's a Key Biscayne. That answer goes to Oscar JB1 on Instagram, and I believe it was Daniela Pierre said Baggs Park. They get those answers. It's Bill Baggs Park. So thank you so much. I want to give a shout out to my friend Raymond Sands, who's watching. Principal, I think you had Principal Charles Drew Elementary, middle school, I think. Is it middle school or elementary? I'm not sure which one it is. But great friend of mine. He was a great mentor when I was in high school, although he was a junior when I was a freshman. There at were you a junior? Yeah, he was a junior. Yeah, first year, night, then he did second year. Yeah, he was a junior when I was a freshman. Yes, Baggs State Park. Let's move on. The answer, next question. This colonial style residence was built in 1923 for his family and for his medical practice. Who is this historic black Miami doctor, this Miami black doctor, and what was the name of his residence? Who was this black doctor who built this house in 1923? And what is the name of his residence today? This prominent black doctor, and what was the name of his residence today? Not quite Dorian creation. That's not the answer that we are looking for. No, Daniela Pierre. That is not the answer. It is not the answer. I'm sorry, Dorian creation. No, we're still waiting for the answer. Let's put the music on. Maybe that'll get your mental juices flowing. This colonial style residence was built in 1923. I'm giving you several clues because I'm asking you the name of the doctor, and I'm asking you what's the name of his residence today. What is it called? He built the house in 1923 for his families and for his medical practice. So he practiced out of his house. Who was this historic Miami black doctor, and what was his name, and what was the name of his residence? What's the name of his residence today? What is his resident known as? What is his house known as today? Thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you. Actually, yeah, 1836. No, it's not in Liberty City. How y'all asking me questions? No, it's not in Liberty City. Thank you, Jocelyn, for the information of Miami-Dade County being incorporated in 1836. Mount Zion was founded in early 1896. Thank you. What's the name of this doctor? 1923. Built a magnificent 17-room colonial-style residence. 1923. He built this for his family. He also practiced medicine out of his house. Who was this historic Miami black doctor, and what is the name of his residence now? We're going to let that sit on you for. I could have gave you a lot more information on this. Drawing a blank. It's on Booker T. You got me saying stuff. You're giving it away. Miami Gardens now, you are correct in your location. We just need a name. You're very right. Got me reading about to give more clues out. I don't want to give out any clues. I want you guys to let your fingers do the walking. Who is this black doctor? I'm going to give you just a little bit more time. Nobody on Facebook is responding. No, not the Simpsons. No, Paramore. Y'all guessing. Y'all talking about Christian Hospital, Dazelle, Simpson, Dazzle. Not quite. Miami Gardens now gave y'all a great clue. Gave y'all an astounding clue on Instagram. Facebook is way behind. They're like cold. They're getting cold. Yep, you guys are close. We are close, but we're not having the answer exactly. Facebook is cold. They're very cold. They're up somewhere in the North Pole somewhere, on their way through Canada in the middle of December. So what do we have? We're going to give it a couple more seconds. A few more seconds. I think I'm going to stop the music, and I think I'm going to make everybody kick themselves in the shin right now. Of course, it is on Booker T. Washington campus. That house is, the name of that doctor is Dr. William A. Chapman. It was William Chapman, Dr. Chapman. The name of the house today is the historic Chapman House. Interesting thing, yes, it is on Booker T. Washington campus. And the sad note behind all of this is that the Chapman House standing there is a constant reminder of what the houses actually looked like in that neighborhood. It's what the houses looked like in that neighborhood. When you hear people talk about building 995 and they did that to get rid of slum and blight and they were knocking down all of the shotgun homes. No, it wasn't just the shotgun homes that they knocked down. They knocked down a lot of houses that were similar in size, if not bigger, than the Chapman House. It was Northwest 3rd Avenue that they began to knock down all of those houses in that area. And so you lost 4th Avenue, you lost 5th Avenue, those areas in there. And those houses, when you look at the pictures, when you do some research and you research the building of the new Booker T. Washington High School, when they knocked down the original Booker T. Washington High School to build the new Booker T. Washington High School, the houses that were in that neighborhood were huge. The Miami Herald did a story, and I think they mistakenly took these pictures, and you seen row after row of picket fences houses along this corridor that were going to be knocked down, took by eminent domain. I-95 began the destruction, but the school board, just like other areas that we're going to talk about later on, I don't want to give answers away. School board also did a lot of damage to black neighborhoods to get rid of or erase the existence of success by black people. Tulsa, Oklahoma was burnt down through riots. Overtown was destroyed through laws. Laws and government destroyed Overtown. So they could not riot and burn down the city without media catching on, because the induction of radio and television and cameras, just like we are today, were evident during the civil rights movement. So they could no longer go through with sheets and stuff and burn down houses, say that a black man whistled at a white woman and that gave them free reign to go in and destroy the community. What they did was to create this thing called urban renewal and knock down slum and blight and eminent domain to take away a lot of the black establishments. We could talk about that at another time. We're going to move on. Here's the next question. This person purchased lots for about $25 each and advertised. And he advertised as the only color licensed real estate dealer in the city. He's a pioneer citizen and developer of early Color Town. He's also recognized as early Miami's most famous black resident. Daniela Pierre, you have the answer on Facebook. Didn't take long. Oscar JB said Miami used urban renewal to disrupt our communities. Yes, they did. They did. Miami, the school board, the government, that's what they did, Mr. Brandon. That's a whole nother conversation I definitely want to talk about in our next webinar series. So staff, get on it. Miami Gardens now have the answer. This was such an easy one. Dana Albert Dorsey. Dana Albert Dorsey was the answer. We're going to move on to our next. Are we good? We're going to move on. What the time is? Let's get a time check. Give me a time check, someone. Make sure we are not going too far along. With nearly 3,300 burial plots, this was one of the oldest black cemeteries in Dade County. Name the cemetery and its location. With nearly 3,300 burial plots, this is one of the oldest black cemeteries in Dade County. Name the cemetery and its location. Name the cemetery and its location. I'll start the music, I think. Sorry, Ms. Pierre. That's the easy answer, but that is not the answer. Miami Gardens now, that's the easy answer, but that is not the answer. Name this cemetery and its location. Great answer, Marcus Palmore, but that's not the answer that we're looking for. This particular cemetery is really forgotten because it's not on a main street. Let's look at that address. You are close. You're very close. I need that name, G.H. Layeron, G.H.D. on Instagram. I need the name. You're very close. That is actually the location. Not Lemon City, Mr. Palmore, not Lemon City we're looking for. We're looking not Charlotte. Nope. We are looking for the answer for this, one of the oldest black cemeteries in Dade County. The location has been answered. Uh-oh, I'm losing power. I'm sorry, let me make sure I got it. Don't want to lose power here. I'm waiting, giving you a little bit more time. Nope, Needham, no, it's not that particular cemetery. That's the easy answer. I'm going for a little harder on this one. Welcome, I am DJ H2. Welcome to see you coming on kind of late. See if you can get into this. Name the cemetery. I'm gonna give you guys about 5 more seconds on it. There we go. We have an answer on Instagram. Oscar JB1, I knew you were in the house. Oscar JB1 has the answer on Instagram. Do we have the answer for anyone on Facebook? Everyone was saying Lincoln Cemetery because that's the one that you see all the time. But there is another. I'll give the answer partially to GHL. I can't pronounce that, Larion for the location, but Oscar JB1 has the name. And the name of this cemetery is Evergreen Park Cemetery. Evergreen Park Cemetery. That's located off of 33rd Avenue and about 47th Street on the other side of the Hampton House. They say Oscar JB1 is using Google. They're talking about you, Oscar JB1. But this cemetery was owned by the Reeves family. I don't know if they still own this cemetery, but the Reeves family own this cemetery. Is actually on the other side, on the south side of 46th Street. I'm sorry that it isn't 47th Street. It's on the south side of 46th Street. City Cemetery. Well, yes, City Cemetery here in Miami is an old cemetery. That's why we said one of the oldest. We said one of the oldest because City of Miami had a cemetery. They still have a cemetery here off of 2nd Avenue, but they had a black section. It was a segregated cemetery. Evergreen was a black cemetery. You don't get a lot of people talking about Evergreen. Evergreen is very beautiful, and it sits south of 46th Street. You know, it was owned by the Reeves family. I don't know if somebody online want to check to see if the Reeves family still own that particular cemetery. It is designated as a historic landmark. It's in better keep, is kept better than Lincoln Memorial Cemetery, but Lincoln gets all the attention. But Evergreen Park Cemetery is one of the oldest as well, and just not as known as the Lincoln Memorial Cemetery. We're moving on to our next question. Somebody give me a time check. I think that was a 2:54 was the time check I was getting. So we got to get ready to wrap up. I think I'm going to be losing you on Instagram in a second. So let's make this our last question. Began as a community home to African-American railroad workers. What was this location known as? Began as a community that was home to African-American railroad workers. What was this location known as? What was this location known as? This is our last question because we don't want to lose our Instagram 1 hour. What was this area known as? Began as a community home to African-American railroad workers. All right, Oscar JB1 has the answer on Instagram. Do we have an answer on Facebook? I'm going to give you just a couple of more minutes on Facebook to see if you can answer this particular question. Begin as a community home to African-American railroad workers. What was the location known as? He said, ain't no Google that for that. Yeah, you're right about that. That's a did you know. Let's go ahead and give this answer. I don't know if Facebook will have this because you can't Google this one. It was a railroad shop colored edition. This was in the Alapata neighborhood. Our staff have talked candidly about this and have had, he said, excuse me, not the right answer. Oh, okay. Our staff have talked about this. We've had Mr. Brainan on, whose family was heavily involved there at the that lived in that area. That was one of the places that the school board came in and just took the black land by eminent domain and forced all of the black people out of that area. That's still a story that needs to be told. We're going to be having sessions that's going to talk about that incident and talk about the people that have lived there. Is where Alapata Elementary and Alapata Middle School used to be. They now changed the name to Lenore Brainan Elementary, I believe, and then it's Georgia Ayers. Those are two prominent people that lived in that particular area. Thank you. She said, yes, you can Google it. All right, good. I was just repeating what Oscar Brainan said. He said you can't Google that. But definitely, we thank you, Daniela Pierre and Marcus Paramore, for coming in tied there on Facebook. I believe Oscar JB1 again has come in and ran roughshod on everybody on Instagram. I hope that you join me next week for Jeopardy Noir. Continue to join us as we do these Safer at Home series. Tomorrow, Thursday, join our assistant archivist, Lewis Berthen, who will be giving you, I believe, profiles on Black history. We certainly appreciate you for coming. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're still going to go. We're going to do a poll that we're going to be sending out, trying to find out if people rather have this event, our programming in the evening time, because I know a lot of people going to work. But with the fact that they're about to do another shutdown, we might have to keep it at the same time. Daniela and Marcus did a tie win on. Oh, that's Facebook. Yeah, I got Facebook. I was seeing Oscar Brainan went on. Okay, definitely. So listen, thank you guys. Join us tomorrow for Profiles on Black History. Join us Friday for our virtual field trip. Our destination is going to be Virginia Key Beach. It's going to be Virginia Key Beach. We're playing around to see whether we're going to physically go there. But please join us as we discuss Virginia Key Beach on our virtual tour on Friday. And of course, join us on Saturday for Storytime in Colors. A slate of our activity is on our Instagram page, as well as if you go to our website, a lot of information is there. If you have the ability to follow in the steps of Investor Solution, as well as Patricia Jennings Brainan and her family that went on an endowment wall. This our first endowment donations of the year. Even in this COVID season, people are still giving. We look forward to have you. If you can't get on our endowment wall at $5,000, please become a member. Please become a member of the Black Archives. Go to our website, see how you can be a member. Membership start at $25 annually to be a member. We have ways that you can get on the wall. We have ways that you can put your family name in perpetuity on the seats inside of the theater. There are many ways to support this Black institution. We need your support. We need you to tell a friend to tell a friend. There should be 100 viewers on both stations, both channels, Facebook and Instagram. We need you to tell people about us. I'm one mouth telling 8 and 8, and those 8s have mouths that you tell another 8. Thank you so much. It takes a village to raise a child. Everybody enjoy. We will see you again. Glad to be back. Jeopardy Noir.